Jim McMillian was one of the best players in Ivy League history at a time where the conference was at its absolute best, as he became a 3-time All-American, a 3-time Haggerty Award winner, and a 3-time All-Ivy League selection. After his legendary college career, he was the 13th pick by the Lakers in 1970. This aging team needed some youth, especially with the injury history of Elgin Baylor. Jim's game was a stark contrast to Baylor's, as he preferred to operate in the mid-range, with his pull-up jumper being his best weapon. He loved to work in the triple threat, driving past the defense or kicking it to an open man when they collapsed. He also loved to leak out in transition for a pull-up or an easy look at the basket. He moved well without the ball and he could easily get open. At 6'5" and a solid 225 pounds, Jim was strong and quick, but he never seemed to do too much, always providing effort on the glass and on the defensive end. Even though his main role was to score, Jim's all-around play was important to whatever team he was on. He wasn't an elite player in the pros, but he was a key piece of one of the greatest teams ever, so it's time to look at the underrated career of the Butterball. Welcome to PG Hoops, and let's get down to it. Jim was born on March 11, 1948 in Rayford, North Carolina. His family moved to New York, where he attended Thomas Jefferson High in Brooklyn. Jim played well enough to become a first-team parade All-American, so he had his pick of the litter in terms of colleges. He visited St. John's, and John Wooden recruited him to play at UCLA, but Jim felt like the Los Angeles area was too distracting. He turned down North Carolina as well. He was looking for a challenge, but one that was off the court as well, so he chose Columbia. He clearly meant business as soon as he stepped on campus, averaging 24 points for the freshman team. By his sophomore year, he was clearly the best player along with Dave Newkirk. The Lions got off to a terrible start, sitting at 3-3 in the first month, but they picked it up, winning 16 straight games. Jim led the Ivy League in scoring and finished second in rebounding, helping the Lions have a top 10 defense and clinch the first seed in the conference, so they were going dancing. Jim averaged 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists as they faced LaSalle in the first round game. He had a solid performance with 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists in an easy win. He had 14-12 against Davidson, but they would lose in overtime. They faced Bob Lanier and St. Bonaventure in the consolation game, and Jim dropped 19 points and 14 rebounds in a blowout win. Dave left in 1968, so Hayward Dotson and Roger Malezic stepped up big time. Columbia won their first 7 games, then 7 out of their next 8. Even as they finished 19-4, Princeton had gone undefeated in the Ivy League, so the Lions season would end early. Jim averaged 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. Jim became even more aggressive as a senior, taking a lot more shots while still being efficient. The Lions won 12 of their first 13 games, being ranked as high as 13th in the nation. They went on another 6-game winning streak, but this year, Penn went undefeated in the Ivy League, so even with a 20-5 record, the Lions missed the tournament. Jim was the top scorer in the conference again, averaging 26 points and 10 rebounds. After scoring the most points in school history at the time, Jim put his name in the draft. He was a first-round pick of the New York Nets and the Lakers, but he chose LA due to their lucrative 3-year offer. The Lakers had been great for a while, but their main stars were getting old, as Wilt was 34, Jerry was 32, and Elgin was 36. However, Elgin would only play 2 games due to knee issues, so Jim would be the backup small forward behind Keith Erickson. He dropped 21 points and 8 rebounds in his 5th career game, while dropping 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists 2 games later. He put up 5 more 20-point games, including a season-best 25 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists on the Blazers. Jim wasn't just scoring though, as he also had 4 double-doubles and 5 games with at least 5 assists. Even though Wilt was declining, he still led the league in rebounding. Jerry West did Jerry West things, and Happy Harrison had a career season, as the Lakers finished 48-34. For his rookie year, Jim averaged 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. He was named the starter for the semifinal series against Chicago, and he was hot, averaging 24 points in his first 3 playoff games. He cooled off after that, and LA was able to win Game 7 to advance to the division finals, where they met Kareem and the Bucks. Jim dropped 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in Game 3, but that was their only win of the series, as Milwaukee got past them in 5. The Lakers improved their bench in 1971 by drafting Jim Clemens 13th overall, while also trading for Flynn Robinson and Leroy Ellis. Elgin tried to come back again, but after 9 games, his knees couldn't hold up, so Jim was called up to replace him. He was on fire to start the season, with 39 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists in the 4th game of the year. The Lakers went on a historic run, going from November 5th to January 7th without a loss, winning an NBA record 33 games in a row, as Jim averaged 20 points and 8 rebounds during the streak. His scoring took a huge leap, as he set a new career high with 41 points against Philly, but he also grabbed 13 double-doubles and dished at least 5 assists in 8 games. It seemed like everything was going right for the Lakers, as although Wilt only averaged 15 points, he still led the league in rebounding and field goal percentage. Gail Goodrich and Jerry both averaged over 25 points a game, and LA won a then record 69 games. In his much improved season, Jim averaged 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Lakers easily swept Chicago in the semifinals, and now they face the defending champion Bucks in the division finals, looking for revenge. After dropping just 6 points and shooting 3 for 20 in Game 1, Jim exploded for 42 points and 7 rebounds in Game 2. He dropped 27 in Game 3 and 25 in Game 5, and LA won in 6. They made it back to the finals, facing the Knicks again. Jim was pretty cold for the first 4 games, shooting just 34%, but the Lakers had a 3-1 lead heading back home. Jim was so sure of the win that he scheduled a tennis match in New York on the day that Game 6 would have been scheduled. He put up 20 points and 3 rebounds on 8 of 15 shooting, helping the Lakers win their first championship since 1954, as he enjoyed a glass of victory champagne before his match. In 1972, the Lakers traded for Bill Bridges and Mel Counts to bolster their front court, while also drafting Jim Price and Travis Grant. Jim was beginning the year on a good note, averaging 18 points and 6 rebounds in the first 10 games. He put up a season-high 42 points on 56% shooting against the Suns, and 28 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists on 13 of 15 shooting against Portland. Wilt led the league in rebounding for the 11th time and shot an NBA record 73% from the field, as Bill played really well in place of an injured Hairston. Even with their stars in their mid-30s, the Lakers still won 60 games. Jim was pretty consistent, averaging 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. For the 3rd year in a row, the Lakers faced Chicago in the semifinals. The Bulls gave them all they had, and Jim shot 3 for 19 in Game 7, but LA snuck out a close win. Golden State was their division final opponent, and he bounced back with 37 points and 6 rebounds in Game 1, and 28 points on 57% shooting in Game 3. The Lakers won the series in 5 games, and faced the Knicks yet again in the finals. Jim dropped at least 22 points in the first 3 games, but the Knicks had LA figured out, beating them at home in Game 5 to win the series. Wilt retired in the offseason, and the Lakers were desperate for a starting caliber center. They wanted Elmore Smith from Buffalo, but Braves GM Eddie Donovan wanted Jim and wouldn't budge, as the Lakers' other offers didn't change his mind. So Jim was on his way to Buffalo, and he was now looked at as a main contributor, not just a supporting piece. Coach Jack Ramsey wanted Jim to be more active on defense, and he became a leader for the team, coaching up the younger players any chance he could. This Braves team wasn't on the same level as the Lakers, but they were on the come up. Bob McAdoo was dominating the paint at 6'8", while dynamic rookie playmaker Ernie DiGregorio brought some excitement to the team. Gar Hurd, Randy Smith, and Jack Marin all provided support for this promising squad. Jim proved to be a jack of all trades, dropping 36 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals on the Cavs. He put up 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 steals on the Bucks, and a career-high 48 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals on the Warriors. He was in the league leaderboards this year, finishing in the top 20 in steals, field goal percentage, and free throw percentage. Bob led the league in scoring, while Ernie led the league in assists and field goal percentage, winning the Rookie of the Year, as the Braves' high-powered offense propelled them to 42 wins, helping them make their first playoff berth in franchise history. Jim averaged 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals, as Buffalo faced Boston in the semifinals. He dropped 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists in Game 2, followed by 15 points and 18 rebounds in Game 4. But these were their only 2 wins, as Boston advanced in 6 games. The Braves dealt with a lot of injuries in 1974, as Jim and Ernie would miss significant time. In the games where he was healthy, he was still productive, dropping 25 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on the Lakers, and 23 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 steals on the Suns. Bob really put the team on his back this year, as he led the league in scoring again, averaging 35 points a game and winning the MVP. The Braves were second in the division with 49 wins, as Jim averaged 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. He was decent in the semifinals against the Bullets, but his numbers were down from his regular season averages, and the Braves were blown out and eliminated in Game 7. John Shoemate was a new rookie in 1975, and Jim was back to the same supporting role he had in LA. He was still a solid offensive option, but he was more efficient than ever this year. He shot 55% in December, 57% in January, and 60% in April. His best performance was against the Kings, with 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals on 15 of 18 shooting. Bob led the league in scoring for the 3rd year in a row, while Randy had a breakout season. Buffalo won 46 games, as Jim averaged 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal on a career-high 54% shooting, which was 3rd in the league. The Braves faced Philly in the first round, as he dropped 23 points in Game 1 and 25 points in the closeout Game 3. They finally won a playoff series, and they met Boston in the second round. Jim had 24 in Game 1, but he couldn't replicate this output, and the Braves lost in 6. Buffalo wanted to go in a different direction with Jim in 1976, but he wouldn't leave the state as his player rights were sold to the Knicks. New York had fallen hard from their championship glory as they tried to play Spencer Haywood and Bob McAdoo at the same time. Jim would start at the 3, but his role in the offense was greatly reduced. He had a few splashes of excellence, with 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 steals in the Warriors, and 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists in the Warriors again. But this team was decimated by injuries, as Spencer, Bob, and John Gianelli missed significant time. The Knicks finished 40-42, finishing outside of the playoffs. Jim averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Willis Reed was hired as the new head coach in 1977, while the Knicks traded for Butch Beard and Jim Clemens, while also drafting Ray Williams and Toby Knight. Lonnie Shelton was slotted at the small forward, so Jim would come off the bench. He was solid in spurts, with 22 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 blocks against Cleveland, and 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists against Philly. Bob was back to form, averaging 27 points a game, but the Knicks couldn't stop a nosebleed. However, their offense was good enough for 43 wins and a trip back to the playoffs. Jim averaged 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists as the Cavs were their first round matchup. Jim had a small role, but the Knicks were able to sweep them. He had another minimal role in the second round against Philly, but the Knicks would get swept themselves. Even though his stint in New York was a homecoming, Jim didn't have the best experience, saying, "It was a homecoming until the rude awakening hit that there were not enough basketballs. On paper we were a good team, but there wasn't any cohesiveness." Jim would follow his former coach Jack Ramsey to the Blazers, signing with them as a free agent, but he would be buried on the bench, with his best game being against Denver with 12 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Jim's season would end in February, as Portland finished 45-37 and lost in the semifinals to the Suns. Jim turned down an offer from the Clippers, moving overseas and signing a deal with Bologna in Italy. He led his team to the Italian League title, but they lost in the European Cup. The next year, they won the league title again, but Jim tore his ACL in the European Cup playoffs, as his basketball career would be over after this. After he retired, he went on to own a clothing company and then worked as a retail distributor for Polo Ralph Lauren. Both of his kids would go on to play Division I basketball, something that Jim called his biggest accomplishment. On May 16, 2016, Jim passed away from heart failure at age 68. Jim McMillian wasn't one to make a lot of noise, but a silent assassin is still deadly. Even after being the unquestioned star in college, he had the humility to play a supporting role during his first few years, but his skill set fit perfectly. He was great off the ball, as he was always moving and he was always ready to shoot once he caught it. His jump shot was so smooth that tough defense really didn't matter, with him getting a shot off over the outstretched arms of most defenders. He could put the ball on the floor and slash, and he was a solid passer and he attacked the glass with ferocity. He had the tough task of replacing a legend like Elgin Baylor, and he did a great job at it. While he didn't replicate his college production in the pros, he still had a more than respectable career, becoming one of the most underrated forwards of the decade. Thank you guys, really appreciate y'all for the support. I would have loved to see what he would have done in the ABA with a 3-point line. If you can hit jumpers consistently from 18 to 20 feet, you could have hit a 3-pointer in the ABA. I think he could have probably averaged 22, 23, 24 points a game. I like how his game was so simple, like catch the ball, little triple threat, 1 dribble pull up, reverse pivot, spin, pull up, go in the post, fade away, pull up. Like, he's just always in the right spot to shoot. He's always in the right spot to score. Like, he's just that guy that does everything you need. Like, he's not going to be the superstar, but he's definitely someone that you would notice if he wasn't on your team. Because my thing is, if you're averaging 19 points on the team with Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and then you're averaging 19 on the team with Bob McAdoo, someone who's going to take all the shots. Imagine if it was just him on the team. He could have averaged 20, 22, and maybe could have had a couple all-star appearances. I think he was definitely an all-star level player, but just he accepted his role, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially when you have in a team with 3 Hall of Famers, really 4 when you count Gail Goodrich. Shout out to him for being versatile, being able to fit multiple roles and do whatever was needed for the team to win. I was watching his Columbia footage, man, this dude was a monster. It's like he got hot so quickly and he just hit like 6 or 7 straight jumpers in a row. And then there's no point fouling him because it's not like he's gonna miss the foul shot either. Like, he was just such a great offensive player. You know, one of the more underrated players of the decade. Thank you guys, really appreciate y'all for the support. Leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Turn my post notifications on. Please be safe, stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.